Good morning, members. It's time for the meeting and a quorum is present. May I now call the meeting to order? There is one paper on the agenda for today's meeting. Before the meeting, the government submitted an information paper, EC1 2026-27 for circulation to members. The paper sets out information on changes to the directorate establishment since 2026, as well as the implications of the changes set out in the discussion item on the directorate establishment. I'd like to remind members that if they have any direct or indirect pecuniary interest in the item for discussion at today's meeting, they should, in accordance with Rule 83A of the Rules of Procedure, disclose the nature of the interest before speaking on a matter. I'd like to draw members' attention to Rule 84 of the Rules of Procedure concerning voting in cases where a member has a direct pecuniary interest. Item 1, EC 2026-27-6, proposed creation of one supernumerary directorate post in the Department of Justice for a period of about 5 years up to 31st of March 2031 to take forward policy measures to assist mainland enterprises in going global, and redeployment of 2 permanent posts to provide directorate support for the Alternative Dispute Resolution Team. The government consulted the Legislative Council on Administration of Justice and Legal Services on this proposal on the 26th of May 2026. Officials attending the meeting to respond to members' questions, the list has been placed in front of you, and therefore I don't propose to read out the names. And members who wish to speak on this item may now press the Request to Speak button. May I now invite Ms. Carmen Khan, as chairman of the AJLS panel, to brief us on the discussion at the AJLS panel meeting. Over to you. Thank you, Chairman. On the 26th of May 2026, the AJLS panel discussed the administration's proposal in the DFJ, the creation of one-time limited post of Directorate Pay Scale Point 2, Legal or DLL2, to take forward policy measures to assist mainland enterprises in going global, and B, redeploy 2 permanent posts at DL2, DL3, respectively, to provide directorate support for the newly established Alternative Dispute Resolution Team. Members supported the submission of the above proposal to the ESC for consideration. Members noted that the administration proposed to create a time-limited directorate post at DL2 in the Rule of Law Development Office under the Office of the Secretary for Justice. While the overall establishment of the office would be reduced, members were concerned whether the manpower of the office would be sufficient to support the task force on supporting mainland enterprises in going global and in other existing work. They urged the DFJ to review its manpower needs regularly and to increase or redeploy staff in a timely manner. Regarding the proposal to redeploy the DPGC of the Planning, Environment, Lands and Housing Unit of the Civil Division to the ADR team, members were concerned whether the redeployment would affect the Planning, Environment, Lands and Housing Unit. They urged the administration to ensure that work relating to housing litigation, including cases involving land resumption and the development of the Northern Metropolis, will not be affected. The administration responded to members' concerns and questions at the meeting. Thank you. That's all I'd like to report. Thank you, Ms. Khan. Let's now invite Ms. Amy Yuen to take us through the paper. Thank you, Chairman. The proposal that we have proposed involve 2 parts. First, to create one-time limited directorate post of DPGC in the Legal Enhancement and Development Office or Lead Office of the SJO. For about 5 years up to the 31st of March 2031 for taking forward the new and significant policy initiatives of facilitating Chinese mainland enterprises in leveraging Hong Kong to go global, and 2, to redeploy 2 permanent directorate posts to deal to the ADR unit. So that included 1 principal government counsel and also 1 senior and also 1 deputy PGC in order to help deal with the ADR to enhance Hong Kong's status as a dispute resolution hub. So, as said, on the 26th of May this year, we already consulted the AGLS panel. We obtained the support from members of the panel, and we hope that we would also be able to get the support from the ESC before we go to the FC for approval. Next, we have Ms. Helen Kong, DPGC, to walk us through the proposal, and then we have Ms. Leona Chiang, the Deputy Law Officer, would also be telling us more about the ADR unit issues. So I'll also be happy to take members' questions. Yes, Ms. Kong, thank you. Yes, the DFJ proposed that one DPGC post be created on a time-limited basis in order to leverage Hong Kong's unique advantages in order to help facilitate Chinese mainland enterprises to go global, in order to implement the measures under the outline 15 5-year plan for national economic and social development of the PRC. We'd like to make Hong Kong the preferred place for going global for mainland enterprises, and we will also be giving strategic professional advice to the DFJ. And with regard to supporting the mainland enterprises, including publishing announcements and also compiling the policies and so on. Well, as the existing manpower has been used on rule of law education and also GBA building, and also there are also some existing jobs and responsibilities, and also we would also have to, some of the time-limited posts would also be maturing by the end of this year. That's why we have the need to create this time-limited post in order to support the new initiative on going global and also rule of law education support work. With regard to the creation of this DL2 post, that is to facilitate our work and liaison with bureaus and departments and also relevant associations, and also in dealing with such issues that would also facilitate the positive participation by different sectors in supporting the Go Global initiative, and also it would also be supporting the secretariat for the relevant committee, and also it would be leading the team to implement the relevant work. So overall speaking, the Go Global initiative is a very important measure, and the creation of this post would ensure this important policy can be implemented effectively. I'd like to urge you to support it. Thank you. Yes, Ms. Zhang. Yes, I'll be talking about the ADR unit's work. Well, the present duties are taken up by the relevant unit, that is the PEL and H unit. That is under the Civil Division, and there are 3 units. We have the ADR unit as well as the other units, and as that dispute resolution is to deal with building-related issues, and therefore it would also come under the planning, environment, lands and housing unit. But then right now it's no longer confined to building management issues, and also given the fact that Hong Kong has established itself as a dispute resolution center, therefore we need to have more forward-looking planning. And also the unit is also responsible for giving legal advice as well as litigation. For example, the land resumption ordinance for the development of the northern metropolis would also give rise to a lot of legal issues. Given the fact that there is a strategic need in developing these areas, we believe that there is a need for us to have a dedicated unit comprising of government council to coordinate the issues, and also the chief or the principal counsel will also be able to focus on these policy issues, and therefore we propose to create 2 permanent directorate posts so that they can work with the existing ADR unit's support staff, so that they can be deployed to the newly established ADR unit, and that would not involve any additional resources, and there is no need to recruit new members to the unit. So we hope that the ESC can support this proposal, and both myself and my colleagues would be more than happy to take members' questions. Thank you. We have got 9 members who would like to ask questions. I'll read out the names now. Mr. Michael Ngai, Mr. Chen Wing Kwang, Mr. Chen Yong, Mr. Chu Lap Wai, Mr. Albert Chong, Mr. Ken Lee, Mr. Alvin Lee, Mr. Wu Yingpeng, and Mr. Alan Chen. Each will be given 4 minutes, including both questions and answers. Yes, Mr. Michael Ngai, thank you. Thank you, Chairman. I support the DFJ's proposal to enhance its manpower deployment, including the creation of the time-limited directorate post at DPGC, and also the lead office, and also the 2 permanent posts would be redeployed under the civil division. We will have the newly established unit, ADR unit, that shows that the administration has been able to make good use of the existing resources to deepen Hong Kong's status as an international dispute resolution center, and also to support mainland enterprises to go global. But then I'd like to have 2 points clarified. First, in para 12 of the paper, it says that there are a number of civil service posts, including a DPGC position, which are responsible for promoting rule of law, education, and so on. But then they will lapse by phases in the current financial year. In other words, for a permanent DPGC post that will be redeployed to resolve that problem, there are also a number of time-limited posts that will be lapsing in due course, and therefore to create this one single time-limited DL2 post, would that be able to resolve the problem of the existing needs for the role-related work, and also the 3 policy areas, including coordination of rule of law, education, and also dispute resolution service, and also deepening our legal alignment with their initiatives for the GBA? Well, in fact, we had the mediation unit that was set up before 2018. The roles have exceeded what it was intended for, and also so it has also gone beyond what the current council can do, and therefore should we review the structure comprehensively in order to have a holistic planning for that, instead of just partially replacing or redeploying existing posts. So we are talking about rule of law, education, and also some of the existing work. So we will have to consider that more carefully. Yes, Ms. Kong. Yes, thank you for Mr. Ngai's support for our proposal. And this is also about our manpower and whether or not it's adequate. In fact, the lead office was established in 2022. We had 13 posts, including 8 permanent posts and also 5 time-limited posts. Well, for the 5 time-limited posts, they are also for the purpose of rule of law, education, or ROLE. Well, by the time when they lapse, they will be lapsing in phases by the end of this year. And as I said, if the proposal in the paper is approved or is supported, then in terms of the number of posts, the posts will be reduced from 13 to 8, including 8 permanent posts and 2 time-limited posts. We propose to create a time-limited DL2 post and also a new senior government council post, which is also time-limited. That is to provide non-directorate support for the office. So in terms of containing or controlling the establishment of the government's civil service establishment, that is also an important and efficient way of dealing with the problem. On top of that, we also have some existing civil service establishment and also contract staff. They would also be supporting our work simultaneously. Yes, the workload has been increasing and manpower is also very tight. Therefore, the proposal will be able to strike a balance between manpower need and also containing the establishment. Well, the lead office would also be looking at different units and also other grades to see if we can redeploy the staff more effectively, so that while the manpower is tight, the lead office will still be able to provide high quality service, whether it's about role or GBA promotion, and also the overall promotion of Hong Kong's legal services and so on. So these are major policy initiatives that will also be coordinated by the DFJ. So we will have to rely on this committee as well as other stakeholders and also the 2 streams of the legal profession to support us. We hope that the work will be supported by all members here. We will continuously review the establishment in order to to make sure that our legal services provided to the administration will be of high standard, and we will also be able to provide high efficiency and high effectiveness in terms of the provision of services, and we will rise to the challenge. Thank you.
Any supplement? Thank you, Chair. Regarding the CD, we will work or keep close attention to the latest development in the policy needs, and we will also streamline our existing establishment and make good use of our existing resources. There is increased workload for the division, and the tasks we're facing are getting more and more challenging, but then we will try our best. If after consideration we think that we should open more posts, we will consider these requirements very carefully, and we will also consult the relevant committee and also submit our proposal to the Financial Committee for approval. Thank you. The next, Mr. Chen Wing Kwong. Thank you, Chairman. I'm in support of the proposal put forward by the DOJ. Regarding the creation of the directorate post, a time-limited directorate post, members might remember that on the 13th of May, we have also handled the application for creating an additional post in helping mainland enterprises to go global. I understand that the responsibilities for these two positions are different, but then I'd like the government to explain why we have to create this additional post since we have already approved the approval of the previous post. And second, about the KPI of these new positions. How can the members of the public evaluate the performance of these post holders? And also, in addition to the proposal put forth by paragraph 14, in addition to creating a time-limited post, it is also proposed that there would be non-directorate post holders to support the work of the division. I'd like to know whether these would be within the establishment of the lead office, or if they would be newly recruited. If it is the latter, I'd like to know the cost involved. Thank you. Ms. Hong? Yes, we notice that Invite Hong Kong has similar work, that is to help mainland enterprises to go global. But then we're actually complementary to one another, and we will be assisting one another for this work. Actually, we provide a lot of relevant information to mainland enterprises who are interested to go global. It will help them get the necessary information ASAP, and we actually have prepared a name list for enterprises that would provide professional services for mainland enterprises planning to go global. There are contact information about these service providers so that the enterprises could identify these companies ASAP. We also provide success cases for the mainland enterprises to draw reference from. And there are success cases, and we would also have videos, promotional videos to highlight the strong capabilities of Hong Kong's professional services. All these information would be very important to them, but and then Invest Hong Kong could also make use of these information to liaise with their the clients or collaborators so as to help them go global. Why is this post to be time limited? This is under the 15th five-year plan in order to make Hong Kong better integrate into the development of mainland China and also support Hong Kong in enhancing its position as an international dispute resolution center. We try to assist mainland enterprises to go global and try to provide information to them. Why is it a 5-year? Because we think that we would be able to review the workload and the policy effect of this initiative so that we would know whether this position should become permanent or whether it should continue. So we believe that 5 years is a good time period. This is time limited and it's not a permanent post. We could actually make better use of public money and also to meet the present workload requirement. We have 6 permanent posts under the office, and among them, there is the deputy government, the principal government counsel. We also have non-directorate posts, 2 government counsel, and then we have also counsels from the legal profession. Well, I have already introduced about the establishment of the existing lead office, and this would be the support. Well, there is another question about the KPI of these post holder. Yes, we do pay attention to the performance of different post holders in our establishment. Well, the DPGC post holder has to be sort of the team leader of the group. So the major task of this position holder is to put forward the policy initiatives. But then for each task, for instance, to update the name list for service providers to mainland enterprises, we will set very clear timeline and target so as to properly review the performance of the post holder and to make sure that the work actually takes effect. We would make sure that these tasks have clear timetable, they are concrete, and they could facilitate the policy initiatives. And in setting targets, we would also consider arranging exchange or promotional sessions. For instance, each year, how many promotional sessions should be organized and how many outreaching activities should be organized each year. Well, we believe that we should pay more attention to the actual results of these activities. For instance, in integrating the relevant information or organizing activities, we would review whether they are actually taking effect. We pay attention to the quality of this work, but not just the quantity. It's not about how many sessions have been organized or how many activities have been organized, but then we pay even more attention to the quality of the output or effect of these activities. We will listen to the views of the stakeholders, try to know what their needs are, and try our best to address their issues. This is our way forward. Thank you. Next, Mr. Chen Yong. Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to thank colleagues from the DOG to give us a very detailed explanation about their proposal. I believe that we are all in support of the 2 proposals because this would help Hong Kong in strengthening our position as the International Dispute Resolution Center, and we will also be aligning with the development of our country. And this would also help Hong Kong enhance our image as well. But then for the lead office, well, I think in assisting mainland enterprises to go global, I think the lead office will have to liaise with mainland enterprises and also different enterprises and stakeholders. But then what about the enhancement of the rule of law? This would be a very different task. So regarding the name of the office, the lead office, in order to help people understand that this is mainly to help mainland enterprises go global, perhaps the name of the office should be slightly changed so that people would know straight away that the main task of this office is to help mainland enterprises going global. Regarding the establishment, yes, I believe that we should try to make good use of public money. Well, I understand that the number of posts in the office, that's on page 15 of the paper. You have 3 types, A, B, C, and for the first, you have increased 1 post. I think that members of the public might feel that it's a good thing to reduce the number of posts in the establishment, that is to save public money. But I think we would even support more if each position is really doing its utmost and giving the optimal output in their post. Thank you. Ms. Hong? Or Ms. Kong? Yes, thank you, Mr. Chen, for your observation and your questions. How we could do better? Well, we are actually trying to review our work as well. We proposed to establish a post. For instance, the person on top is to assist the expert committees and to do external liaison. There would be also high-level communication. For instance, working with private sectors, public sectors. This position holder will act as the bridge between the government and these stakeholders. He will also assist in formulating important policies and also putting forward these policy initiatives. It is actually, yes, on the one hand, it is important to formulate important policies. It is also as important to implement the policies in order to make sure that these policies become effective. The position holder will also lead the team to overcome a lot of challenges. They actually are working under very great pressure, time pressure, and also heavy workload. And these are the areas that we'll be working toward, and this will be also in line with our policy target. The most important thing is to assist the mainland enterprises to go global. We will provide necessary information to them and also organize activities so as to help them identify the service providers that they need. Mr. Chen also mentioned about the name of the lead office. Yes, at present, this is LEAD, Legal Enhancement and Development Office. It includes the enhancement of the rule of law and also assisting in the legal establishment of the legal profession in the Greater Bay Area. The name is very comprehensive. But we changed the name of the office so as to make people understand that we are focusing on assisting mainland enterprises to go global. This we will bring back to consider to see whether we should change the name of the office. All right, next, Mr. Chia Lap Wai. Thank you, Chairman. First, I would like to express my support to the present proposal from the DOJ. I have two questions. First of all, in the paper, it states that the creation of the DPGC post will assist the platform to compile the information about the service providers of the professional bodies in Hong Kong. I'd like to know how you would identify these persons. Or do you already have some candidates in mind? Second, about the enhancement of the rule of law in Hong Kong. In recent years, we are doing pretty well in the promotion of rule of law in Hong Kong. And in the paper, I understand that there will be 5 time-limited post holders, or the lapse of the 5 posts within this financial year. I'd like to know that with the lapsing of these 5 posts, would some of the rule of law activities be reduced, or how much workload will there be? And for the new position holder, he will be helping mainland enterprises to go global as well. My concern is whether the rule of law education will be compromised. Thank you. Regarding the rule of law, whether the work would continue and whether it would be compromised if the 5 existing posts are lapsed.
Thank you for your observation and question. You're also very concerned about the sustainability of our work and whether or not we can maintain a high standard of service. Well, with regard to the candidate to take up this post, will he or she know more about the financial and also accounting sector? Yes, we do need to have a high standard leadership because he or she will be responsible for leading the professional service providers so that they can be matched with those Chinese mainland enterprises that need to go global. And therefore, in terms of the connecting network and also the communication skills of the candidate. That would also be very important. We do have an expert committee, and the expert committee would take on board and give a lot of comments and advice to help coordinate different sectors in supporting our work. And therefore, the candidate that we are identifying, according to our existing practice, we hope that he or she would be someone who has the capability to communicate effectively both externally and internally, and he would have experience in different policy bureaus and departments, and he's also good at communicating with different stakeholders both inside the government and outside the government. So initially we have identified that we would be able to identify someone from within the department, because he or she would know more about the structure of the government and also the mainland organization. So that would also reduce the time that he will have to familiarize himself or herself with the work. And I'm grateful to members for your recognition. That is for role. We have been doing a remarkable job so far. That shows that we attach a lot of importance to rule of law education in particular, since that would also help build the brand of Hong Kong as a place where the rule of law always prevails. And therefore, role is a continuous work. So that will, of course, continue, and there is a lot of consequential work. There might be rooms for further enhancement, so that we'd be able to conserve or save our manpower while we are able to effectively promote rule of law education on a continuous basis. Thank you for your advice and comments. Thank you. Next, Mr. Albert Chuang. Thank you, Chairman. First of all, I'd like to say that I agree with the proposal to create this time-limited directorate post, and also the redeployment of 2 existing permanent posts. The first question is on sustainability or continuity. I can see that within the lead office, there will be the creation of a time-limited directorate post at DPGC to support the Go Global initiative at an annual pay of $2.5 million. I think this is a very important task and should be supported. Why is it that we only have this time-limited post for 5 years to support this? Is it that you expect that after 5 years the relevant need for legal support will be reduced? What if after 5 years enterprises are still in need of such services? So what are the plans of the government? Secondly, is about the division of labor. So with regard to the redeployment of 2 permanent directorate posts, well, for the civil division, there will be a post to be designated for ADR. So he would be responsible for promotion, mediation, and arbitration. And also, we have also established the International Mediation Association that was set up in 2024. That will also coincide with that. So with regard to the positioning and also coordinating or liaising with cross-boundary stakeholders and so on. So how are you going to divide the labor in order to make sure that there would not be any duplication of duties? Yes, on the functioning and also division of labor between the different posts. Yes. With regard to the 5-year time limit, well, where possible, we will create a permanent post if necessary. And we can see that Go Global has been a new initiative proposed by the last policy address, and we would be looking at the current situation in stepping up our manpower on this. As to whether or not after 5 years there will be a need to continue, and do we need to beef that up? Well, we will continuously review that. It doesn't mean that after 5 years there will no longer be this need. And also for the lead office, well, we emphasize that Hong Kong is an international law hub, and therefore it will also be working with different departments or units within the DFJ. So for the ADR unit, it will focus on mediation and arbitration work, and other than promoting that, it will also be responsible for the enhancement of law and legal system and so on. Well, just last week, we also announced some mediation proposals, and there is an objective that is by the second half of this year, in terms of the mediation ordinance and arbitration ordinance, we'll be putting forward an amendment bill for amendments. So the focus might be different, but then there is a chance for further collaboration. We believe that there will be no duplication of duties, because our colleagues have been working on multiple tasks at the same time, and we don't want to see a situation whereby there would be duplication of duties. Anything that you'd like to add? Nothing for the time being. Okay. Next, Mr. Ken Lee. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. Well, the paper says that the lead office through the Go Global Expert Committee and also the relevant panel will provide support for mainland enterprises. But then what about professional services coordination and collaboration? Very little has been spoken about this. So can you tell us more about this? That is at present, what units or associations will lead office be working with, and also what is the mechanism in place for such coordination? And we understand that there have also been platforms for mainland enterprises to go global. So what about the support to be provided by the lead office in this regard? Yes, this is about coordinating or aligning with mainland counterparts. Yes, on the mainland, they have also got a lot of Go Global platforms, and therefore how do we coordinate with them? In fact, we have noticed that as well, because in different cities on the mainland, in particular GBA cities, well, there are a lot of one-stop Go Global service centers, and we noticed that in organizing similar activities in the past, we have also noticed that while we try to make good use of the resources, we will also be tapping into those resources. For example, we are closer to Shenzhen, taking Qianhai as an example. We noticed that they also have comprehensive service centers for going global, and we have also tried to work with Shenzhen to coordinate with them, and the response has been very good. They can help us with identifying Chinese mainland enterprises that wish to go global. So we will have greater understanding on them, and there would also be sharing of information with them, and we can also enhance the information before promoting it. So that would also be good. For example, focusing on the emerging industries and also specific items that would need professional services, because they might need more professional services, and therefore we would be able to work more focus in a more focused manner. We can focus on education. We can also rely on the platforms established by these service centers, so that we can have a one-stop service platform, and we can encourage other enterprises to join, and that would also enhance the effectiveness. For example, in July, we are going to Shenzhen, and we have also taken reference to some of the feedback from past stakeholders, and they have a lot of suggestions and demands, so we will further enhance them. For example, on this occasion, we would also be organizing some matching activities or alignment activities. For example, respecting the views of some of the stakeholders, we will be focusing more on IP and also cross-boundary data protection. So we can share more information with the participants, and also overseas markets would also be more concerned about data protection, data security, and IP protection. So we will try to enhance our services in those regards. The next question. You've already answered the question. It's about aligning with mainland units or counterparts. Yes. Yes, Mr. Ken Lee, anything that you'd like to add? No, thank you. Okay. Next is Mr. Alvin Lee. Thank you, Chairman. I support the DFJ's proposal to enhance its manpower deployment in order to cope with the heavy workload. I'd like to know more about the time-limited directorate post to be created. Well, I can see that in enclosure 1, the duties of of this post have been set out. And with regard to Go Global policy, many members have already asked that. But then he will also be responsible for role and also enhancing other areas. So that's under item 4 and 5. For example, item 5. It says that he will be overseeing coordination of capacity building events in Hong Kong and overseas to support rule of law development and public education efforts. And 6 is about supervising the analysis of international rule of law rankings of Hong Kong and oversee the preparation of related briefs and so on. So, are there any particular targets that he will have to achieve within the 5-year period? So, what are the targets? So, who will be answering the question? Ms. Kong or Law Officer? Yes, thank you for your concern about the directorate post the DPGC's terms of reference or job description. Yes, rule has been something that we have been working on. For example, the leadership training program. This is already the 4th stage that we have entered. And that would involve a number of activities. For example, some training courses, and also some visits, and also some simulated court hearings, and also administration of rule of law or implementation of rule of law practices. So we will continue to do such a rule of law education in different areas. And the purpose is to streamline our manpower so that we would not just be able to take care of the Go Global policy, but also take care of such existing rule of law education initiatives. With regard to the events or activities that are being organized right now, the lead office is also responsible for overseeing the rule of law rankings by international organizations, and we expect that there will be a lot of international ranking reports. We will analyze the reports to see if they have been just and fair on us, and if there are areas that we have been doing well, then we will continue, and we will also identify areas that we need to respond to in terms of their comments. So the candidate will be leading a team to continuously monitor the situation. With regard to rule of law education, on different occasions we will continue to work with our counterparts on the mainland, and we will make sure that they can converse, they can align with international practice. So on different occasions we will continue to promote Hong Kong's professional legal services. Thank you. Okay. So in terms of international rule of law rankings, I think Mr. Lee is more concerned about this because we need to beef up such work because we've been doing remarkably well, and therefore we will have to continue with this because we are also taking that very seriously. That is about international rule of law rankings. Okay, I'm sure Mr. Lee would agree. Yes. Next, Mr. Yu Yingpeng. Thank you. Well, ADR, used to be under the CD, and that's also under the PEL&H unit. So can you tell us more about the nature of the work in recent years? Have there been any substantial changes resulting in the fact that you would need to set up an independent ADR unit to be led by this PGC? So who is to answer the question? Ms. Zhang. Yes. Well, for ADR, used to be under the PEL&H unit. That's because mediation is mainly used for dealing with building management issues, and therefore that would be closely related to the work of that unit over the years through the policy address and other policy initiatives. Such work, for example, back in 2024 and 2025 policy address, we said that the government would be taking the lead in including mediation terms in such contracts, and then we will also go for mediation first before arbitration. So alternative dispute resolution would be somewhat different from what it used to be, and therefore mediation is not just used to resolve disputes in terms of building management. That would also be used to deal with family issues, for example, divorce, asset separation, and also custody of children and so on, and also commercial disputes, for example, contractual issues, and also directors of companies, and also personal injury issues, and also consumers and also merchandisers disputes can also be dealt with by way of mediation. And we have also introduced a pilot program, and we would also resort to mediation before arbitration. And also arbitration also involves cross-boundary shipping and also IP issues and so on. So Hong Kong has become a capital on mediation, and alternative dispute resolution will be able to become a very good tool in different sectors. And therefore, in a nutshell, ADU is no longer just focusing on one single issue. Is about cross issues, and therefore the position is cross-cutting, and therefore it involves policy positioning, sustaining public and stakeholders' confidence in dispute resolution services and mechanisms, and also effectively communicating and coordinating with stakeholders across multiple sectors so that they can use mediation as a means to resolve their disputes. And we need to have a dedicated PGC to deal with that, and instead of just a small unit under the PELH unit. And therefore, we believe that there is a need to have a unit under a PGC so that we'd be able to do such work more precisely and effectively.
Thank you. Next, Mr. Alan Chan. Thank you, Chair. I like to express my support to the proposal of DOG, but I have two questions. First, regarding the job description, there is about the compilation of the success cases, booklet, and also assist mainland enterprises going global. Did the DOG or has the DOG considered adding in the terms of reference of this position, for instance, for helping enterprises to go global, it's one-to-many. There might be language difficulties for going to different countries. So shall we perhaps help them set a mandate for a standard contract, for instance, we draw reference from the contracts of different countries, and then try to help the enterprises in translating these standard contracts of different countries into Chinese and English languages. Second, regarding the identification of the candidate, this person has to have a good, strong background in financial experience, legal, and so forth. But then there are different kinds of legal frameworks, for instance, the common law, continental law, and so forth. Well, the candidate would also have some commercial background. So my question is that would the DOJ consider identifying this person in the private sector? For instance, some talents who is well versed with financial and commercial activities. What about the retired personnel from the DOJ? Would you consider those as candidates as well? All right, first question about whether you would recruit this candidate from the private sector. Who would like to take this question? I'd like to take the question regarding talents. Of course, we want to identify the most appropriate candidate for a position. As mentioned earlier, for this position, the post holder, of course, would have to liaise with management of enterprises in the private sector, but at the same time, he or she would have to liaise with the government bureaus and departments. So for those who are familiar with the operation of this government would be an advantage. So our positioning may be a bit different from that of other enterprises. we want to assist mainland enterprises to get the information that they require and also try to facilitate understanding of the professional providers to the relevant mainland enterprises. So we would try to identify the appropriate personnel to take this post. We would, of course, consider possible candidates from within the DOJ as well. Ms. Kong? Thank you, Chair. Yes, Hong Kong is playing a role of bridge between the East and the West. Of course, we're like a platform, and for the success cases in our booklet, it's bilingual, both in Chinese and English. And also facing mainland China, these documents would be in simplified Chinese. When going overseas, the overseas users will be able to find the English version of these information, and they will be able to identify these professional service providers in Hong Kong. What about the standard contracts in both languages? Well, this is important. For mainland enterprises, if they want to go global, we believe that they could rely on the professional services provided by Hong Kong to try to translate those documents into the language that they require in a particular country. So we do have existing professional services in this respect. Thank you. We have the Unidroid established in Hong Kong, the liaison office of Unidroid. I believe that this would answer Mr. Chen's question. So this liaison office would play this role because it is going to help to play the role of a bridge between Hong Kong or mainland China with overseas country. This is actually the unique strength of Hong Kong as well. Next, Mr. Andrew Fan. Thank you, Chair. Well, to assist mainland Chinese enterprises to go global, of course, I am in support of creating a time-limited post to help facilitate this initiative. In the paper, it's mentioned that it has to integrate the different professional providers to assist mainland enterprises to go global. DOJ is a very special unit. It takes care of the prosecution cases. We have the rule of law. This is one of our core values. I'd like to ask what sort of measures the DOJ would have in place. Because if you're going to integrate bankers, financial experts, and commercial and high-level management, how could you avoid giving a wrong impression to the members of the public that the rule of law would not be compromised if you are getting so close to these professional bodies? Ms. Kong? Are you going to take the question? Yes, Ms. Kong, please. Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Fan, for your question. A very good question. As mentioned earlier, we would liaise with the different professional service providers to assist mainland enterprises. Of course, we are going to play a leading role, but would it create a kind of wrong impression that the rule of law might be compromised? Well, that would be relevant to our legal structure. Under one country, two system and the common law, Hong Kong has a very robust system. There is very strong protection so as to ensure that there is the independence in the court proceedings and, for instance, in the recruitment of judges and also in the court proceedings. All these are guaranteed, or a kind of mechanism to ensure that the defendant will have the due opportunities to defend himself. So this would give the members of the public as well as overseas a very strong confidence, because they can see from this that Hong Kong has very robust legal system, and we have a very strong rule of law structure. So in organizing these activities and getting and liaising with the different professional bodies, I'm sure that it will not create a negative impression that Hong Kong's rule of law is compromised. Thank you. What about the prosecution sector of DOJ, and also it is an independent unit. Perhaps it's worthwhile explaining this a little bit to the members of the public. Thank you, Chair. They have different manpower in a criminal prosecution section. Their work is very professional, and they work independently. All the colleagues are long-serving staff. They are very experienced in the field. And exactly because of that, some people may say that the lead office, very often it's about the rule of law. How come you need another group of people to work under the lead office? Well, this is exactly because of that. Prosecution is a very specialized field, and in recent years we could see from the latest development that we need more, or we need to enhance our effort in promoting Hong Kong as an international resolution dispute resolution center. And that's why under the lead office we propose to add more manpower and establish a designated team. And we're not worried that we might give the wrong impression that we are getting too close with certain bodies or certain sectors, that the rule of law might be compromised. All right, thank you. Ms. Carmen Ken. Thank you, Chair. Well, Chairman, when we were in the panel for the administration of justice, we observed that the DOJ has been working remarkably, especially the lead office. Since its establishment, it has worked a lot in the promotion of the rule of law, in aligning Hong Kong legal profession with the corresponding units in mainland China, and assisting enterprises to go global and so forth. They have done a lot of work. So this time-limited directorate post would be to assist mainland enterprises to go global, and it is a directorate post and leading a designated team. So this team would have to work with senior level personnel in the corresponding bodies on mainland and in Hong Kong. I noticed that Helen has mentioned that the lead office has reduced its manpower from 13. I'd like to know, does it mean that for the existing work, the personnel under the office are taking these tasks quite well, and that's why you could reduce the manpower under this unit? Because in addition to the Go Global's designated team, you have other work to take on as well. And this is the first question. The second observation I have is that regarding the list of the Go Global, you have a booklet publishing updated series. And I understand that you have 60 relevant law firms, but then you could perhaps get the support of the expert teams. You could actually have more communication and liaison with the relevant professional bodies. And regarding the ADR unit, I'm really in full support of it. As a lot of the colleagues have mentioned earlier, it has to assist the work of the IOMAT. The country has given us a very important task in this. Of course, the IOMAD and liaison office of the UNIDROID are high-level units, but then we also have to try our best to explain to the relevant parties about the work of the IOMAD. We also have to amend relevant regulations as well. These are heavy workload, and so I believe that the establishment of this designated ADRU is important. But then you are redeploying existing personnel to this newly set up unit. So it seems that you do not have additional personnel for this unit, but then you are actually deploying existing colleagues from other units to this newly set up ADR unit. Well, this is a point of concern. I think the government should really consider the actual situation. I understand that the government is trying to reduce or control the number of the establishment, but then we have to consider about the workload of the offices as well.
We are all concerned about the work of the lead office, whether or not it will be affected by this redeployment. And also in terms of the deployment of manpower, can you give us more details? Yes, at the AGLS panel, members also raised concerns about the manpower situation of the DFJ. Yes, we will continuously review the situation to tie in with government policies and initiatives, whether or not there might be emergency situations warranting further deployment and so on. So if there is some work that needs to be stepped up, then we will see what we can do under the existing system. So in terms of the ADR unit, we try to redeploy the manpower internally to cope with the additional work. With regard to Go Global, we have also got this time-limited directorate grade post under lead office. So we will be looking at the actual need and also, given the current circumstances, how we can cope. So it's not something set in stone, and therefore we will also be monitoring the situation closely. With regard to the communication of the list, yes, Ms. Kong. So what about the list on Go Global? Yes, thank you for your comment and observation. With regard to the list, we will continuously and beef up the substance of the list. We will do our work in liaising with the stakeholders. We will also be working with professional services providers. Other than the list, we also have the booklet. Through such information, that would also help the users, i.e. Chinese mainland enterprises who have the need to go global. With regard to the list, we do have a specific target. That is by the end of this year. We would be publishing the updated version. We hope that the content can be more diversified. And as Ms. Khan just said, for the expert panel, we hope that we can have the support of the expert panel. Definitely, we will be working closely with the expert panel. And we do have elites from different sectors, including mainland law, accounting, financial, and even business or commercial factors. So they will be able to give us a lot of views. Thank you. Well, can I remind members that 3 more members are in the queue to ask questions. And for colleagues who are within the complex and who would like to ask questions, please come to the conference room quickly, because we'll be putting this to the voter shortly. Yes, next, Mr. Tang Fei. Thank you, Chairman. I also support the proposed creation of the post, but then I do have 2 questions. First, with regard to helping Chinese mainland enterprises to go global, this is a time-limited post. I'd like to see if my understanding is correct. My understanding is that the DFJ's duties would be criminal prosecution, law drafting, and also to provide legal advice to the government. So these are the services that you've been providing to the government. So these are the 3 main functions of the DFJ that the public understands. But then this additional duty, whether or not it's time limited, that is to help Chinese mainland enterprises to go global. So you have a team to help them. So my question is, well, generally speaking, our understanding of Chinese mainland enterprises going global is very much market-oriented. What do I mean by that? Okay, so they will engage law firms in Hong Kong. So these market-oriented law firms will help them deal with how they should go global. But then the DFJ now has this additional duty to help mainland Chinese enterprises to go global. So what about the market and also the other stakeholders? So how do you determine the function? Is it there is a new line of services from the DFJ to formulate policies, and that would also, it would also be responsible for helping law firms and Chinese mainland enterprises that would like to go global? So are you going to help these law firms that are helping these enterprises? Because Hong Kong is very much a market-oriented city. And the second question is about rule of law education. I don't know if this is what was promoted by the former S4J, because there are 8 areas mentioning role, that is rule of law education. But then basically, that has also been mixed with what has been done, that is to help Chinese mainland enterprises to go global, and also the new initiative on alternative dispute resolution. So for this dedicated team, is it responsible for carrying out rule of law education, or is it about assisting Chinese mainland enterprises and also the ADR? Is it rule of law education relating to these? If it's former, is about rule of law education, then of course that would have a lot to do with the education sector. You would therefore have to coordinate very closely with the education sector. So that's the question that I'd like to ask. So shall we ask the law officer to explain the details to us? Indeed, conventionally, we do have the Civil Division, the Criminal Prosecution Division, Law Drafting Division, and also the International Law Division, and also the Constitution, Law and Policy Division. So these are conventional duties, whether or not it's about giving legal advice and also dealing with litigation, and even taking out criminal prosecution, and also in terms of international law, that is also, and also the constitutional situation. So that's the conventional duties undertaken by the DFJ. But then under the 15 5-year plan, Hong Kong has been positioned as a dispute resolution hub. And also under the 15 5-year plan, it also says that we will also have to deepen our role as a dispute resolution hub. We will also have to better integrate with the national planning in order to play our role more effectively. We should also tap into our professional services advantages in helping the country to develop. And therefore, we will have to beef up our rule of law education. That's the reason why we have this lead office. So that is under the S4J office, that is to help the secretary and the deputy secretary to formulate policies, and such policies will not be done in a vacuum, because we will have to work with other units and bureaus, for example, mediation and arbitration services that have been mentioned today. But then for this particular office, so what has been done by the DFJ would always have to do with the rule of law. But then in promoting that, we will have to liaise closely with our counterparts on the mainland and overseas units, because for them to understand that Hong Kong is an international legal center, then we do need to have a dedicated team to work on that. And specifically, what this team will be doing is about rule of law education. That would be done more often in Hong Kong. But then we would also be working in the GBA, because for the lawyer scheme in the GBA, for example. So in the past decade or so, there has been a lot of developments, and there have also been some new developments. We will have to look at that sector by sector. For example, how technologies are being used. So on that basis, we will also have to focus on how we can tap into Hong Kong's professional services advantages in helping Chinese mainland enterprises to go global. And therefore, we make use of the lead office to do all these tasks. And in terms of manpower, some of the time-limited posts will also be lapsing shortly, and therefore we will have to increase or redeploy some of the manpower in order to enable it to do its work effectively. So some of the tasks would need to continue as well. Our positioning is that we are within the government, and therefore very often we might just act as a communication bridge, because as I used to work in the ETO in Beijing. So very often we will have to identify professional services provider. I understand that Invest Hong Kong has been doing that as well. And there are also enterprises coming to Hong Kong in different sectors. But then the DFJ's participation or involvement is to come up with this list. We have also been working with the TDC in compiling the list. So that's by way of information that I'd like to provide. And also we would also be promoting the sector to do more, because they can see that there are business opportunities, but then do they all know very well as to what kind of advantage they have, and how, to what extent can they work with Chinese mainland enterprises? We have the expert panel who would be giving us guidance, and therefore we are confident that we can do a good job. Okay, what about rule of law education? I think she has already said that under the lead office. So can you explain a bit further about the function of the rule of law education? So you said that you'll be focusing more on Hong Kong. Yes, under the lead office, since its establishment, we have been doing this, and that would also continue. And therefore, after the restructuring, we will have more manpower to work on that. So if there is a need for us to step up our communication with the education sector, we will. Next, Mr. Yu Pak Leung, thank you. Well, under the DFJ, you're going to create this sorry, my vocal cord has some problems. Okay, you have this time-limited directorate post to help promote the Go Global policy for Chinese mainland enterprises. I support this. We all understand that tapping into, to assist Chinese mainland enterprises to go global, that is also one of our strengths, because we can also tap into our unique advantages that we can connect very well with both the mainland and the world. But then is there a need for us to have someone who is qualified to practice law on the mainland, and who also understand how the legal framework works? Because on the one hand, you will have to understand the mainland legal system. You will also have to be proficient in international law and practices. And you're not just helping them to go global. You might also be helping overseas enterprises to come to Hong Kong and mainland China. So instead of just going global, you're actually helping enterprises to come in. So are there any specific requirements in order to do that? That's my question. And Mr. Tang Fei also talked about rule of law education. I propose that there should be appropriate manpower and professionals to step up education, because going to the school to educate them on rule of law is very important. Okay, two issues. It's about the candidates, whether or not this candidate knows both international law and mainland laws, and also on the manpower for rule of law education. I think we have touched on that already. Two issues. Yes, Ms. Kong, can you switch on the microphone? Yes, thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Yu, for your comments. And your question is, well, just now, so we have already covered that just now. It's about the qualification of the candidate. So for the DPGC, which is a time-limited post, so does he have to know mainland law and overseas laws? So this candidate will have to know or be proficient in both mainland laws and international laws. Well, we believe that he has to be someone who has very good communication skills, because he or she will have to liaise with different stakeholders, whether it's about public organization, private sector organizations, or professional bodies. This candidate will have to be highly skilled in communication, and there are a lot of alignment activities which would require good communication with professional groups. He or she will have to lead delegations to visit mainland counterparts so that mainland Chinese enterprises that need to go global will also have to work closely with these professionals. So we do have bilingual and triliterate and biliterate talents who are skilled on these areas. They can help Chinese mainland enterprises to go global. The importance is that he has to be someone at directorate level with such skills, and he will also be responsible for formulating the policy and implementing the policy. He has to have leadership skills, and he is able to lead delegations to visit our counterparts on the mainland. Yes, 3 more members have pressed the request to speak button. So after Mr. Chen Pok-chi has finished, I will draw a line there. Thank you. That's by way of a reminder. Yes.
Thank you, Chairman. Well, earlier on in the reply to the previous meeting, I understand that we have established a connection with the Shenzhen relevant office, and the result was positive. I'd like to know that up to next year, in addition to the panelist for Go Global and also the publication of the booklet, what other initiatives would you have to tell us the success or the impact of the activities that have been organized just now? Thank you. This is very forward-looking. Thank you for members' question. We have the panel list. We also have the booklet of success cases. We plan to publish the second version of the booklet by the mid of this year. We will also prepared promotional videos so as to show interested party about the successful stories, which would highlight the strong capabilities of Hong Kong's legal and professional sectors in providing support to Chinese mainland enterprises. We also would hope to organize more alignment activities. We will at least organize 2 such activities in the coming months. The first one will be organized in July, and the second one will be held in November. Well, the first one will be in Shenzhen. We hope that based on the good response and experience we gathered from last year's activities, we will this time focus on a few of major areas, for instance, the protection of IP and also cross-border data protection and so forth. These are the issues that are more focused and relevant to the interested parties, and these are the work that we will do. Thank you. Next, Dr. Junius Ho. Chairman. Well, I am skeptical about the government applying to add manpower. Well, of course, for this paper, the proposal is not very alarming. It's just some redeployment. Now that we have 99 directorate post holder, we have over 1,300 non-directorate posts. So it's about 1 director over 13 non-directorate position. I feel that there are quite a lot of leaders, so-called, but then they don't have a lot of soldiers behind them. This is my first observation. Second, about this Go Global designated team, we had invited Dr. Team to organize events for us, and that was about 4 years ago. Well, I don't think that there are an increased workload on this front. You mentioned about the lead office, but then it's about mediation, arbitration, promotion. This is nothing new. Well, you said that you have the Go Global designated team. They have the designated team, so we should have one as well. But they also have such team in the CEBD. And when you look at DB, they have ETO, they have also legal team under their relevant sections. So there are so many so-called soldiers here, or people really frontline working taking up these work. Why do we need another section doing that? And if you don't have enough soldiers, you can redeploy manpower in the existing establishment. We have a lot of people or personnel in the establishment who are actually not working 100% to their capacities. I just saw some media coverage about our post office. There are a lot of personnel overlapping establishment, but then it is easy to create new posts and also create a time-limited posts. But then it would not be easy to stop them or to delete these posts. So you might just reduce 2 or 3 soldiers, but then if you apply to increase one more general, then that is a lot more. So everyone coming here applying for funding, we are just like the God who would answer to every prayer. That is really unreasonable. You don't have enough manpower. You don't have people doing that under the CEDB. You don't have enough people working in the ETO. Well, I think that there are already existing manpower doing these roles. I object to it. The Director of Administration and Development. Thank you. Whether the DPGC is the general and whether those below him are soldiers, I don't think so. Our so-called generals have to go to the battlefield as well. So it doesn't mean that the directors would just sit in the office, be a general, and then direct work, and then he doesn't have to go to work. No. And first, we are applying for redeployment, and we do not have additional manpower there. We are just redeploying existing manpower to the newly set up ADR unit. As regards the time-limited posts of the DPGC, as we mentioned, there will be a lot of additional tasks that this post holder will have to take up. Well, it's not just to the traditional work of providing legal advices. There are a lot of work that are of different nature. In the past, we had quite some time-limited positions and then if there are not if the workload have reduced, we will just reduce these positions. As mentioned, we have 13 manpower, 8 are permanent posts, 5 are time limited. And for these 5 time limited posts, the position will lapse in due course. So after the present redeployment, these officers will reduce the manpower from 13 to 8. 2 are temporary, 4 are permanent posts. So 2 are time limited, 4 are permanent. So basically, under the lead office, we are not proposing to add any manpower. Well, of course, it seems to be a start. Well, actually, we could think of different ways to overcome the problem. So it is not automatic that we would apply for addition of manpower whenever there are new workload. It's not the case. We have exhausted all means. Chairman, can the DOJ give us a broader picture so as to let us know whether you have asked different departments to redeploy manpower to this office? Well, is it a suggestion? Yes. For other policy bureaus, for those doing legal matters, is actually the DOJ, not other bureaus or offices. Well, actually, sometimes it's our colleagues who are assisting the work of other government bureaus and offices in providing legal advice. So it's not the other way around. Thank you. Next, Mr. Sunny Tan. Thank you, Chair. Just now, Mr. Yo Pak Leung mentioned about the Go Global initiative. The mainland Chinese enterprises might be going to different countries. There might be language problems of different countries. And in identifying the candidate to lead this office, from the DOJ's reply, it seems that they would first consider internal candidate. That is, a person who is more familiar with the Hong Kong government operation. But then I'm a bit worried about that because this would be going overseas. For Chinese mainland enterprises, at the start, they were basically unfamiliar with the operation or the legal framework of other countries because when they started, they were small firms working very hard and dealing with internal issues. But then when they grow bigger and stronger, they want to go overseas, and that is the time that they find that they lack the knowledge of overseas framework. So I think the candidate would be very important that he or she should know the overseas frameworks. Well, assisting these Chinese enterprises to go global is not just about signing a contract. Well, it's like an sovereign's agreement. So different enterprises, they have different demands. They have different nature. They have to know how to sign this very important contract, and they must make use of Hong Kong's law. So they have to understand this position holder has to understand the mainland framework, but also overseas framework. So it's just not just a government council. He has to be very well versed in the legal and commercial framework of both the mainland and overseas. So I hope that the DOJ, when identifying the candidate, would be very prudent. Of course, saying all that, I'm still in support of the proposal. Okay, about the candidate, how do you identify the appropriate candidate? About his qualifications, his background of both Chinese mainland frameworks and the overseas frameworks. Is it appropriate to identify the candidate from the government, from within the government? Of course, you have already answered that previously, but I think this is a point of concern of many members. Please reconsider that. Any further response to that, Ms. Kong? Just a point of supplement. In addition to this position holder, well, this position holder will be overseeing the expert working groups as well. For these working groups, there will be people from the legal profession, finance, accounting, and also commercial sectors. This person has to understand the needs of the commercial sector and very familiar with the commercial contracts. For instance, what sort of legal clauses should be included, how to identify the relevant service providers. Thank you. Mr. Chan, you have supplement? Yes, a follow-up. If it's a mid to low-level legal officer, perhaps he has to know a lot of practical issues. But then if it's a directorate post, the management power, the kind of perspective is very important. So it is more important that he has international perspective and not just some frontline knowledges. Thank you. This is very clear. Before we put this to the vote, it's my turn to put questions. Well, I observed that most of our colleagues are in support of the present proposal. Many of our colleagues have expressed their concern about the manpower structure of the DOJ, you are actually reducing headcounts. In addition to having a new position of the Going Global office, but then our colleagues are actually concerned about whether this would affect the existing work of rule of law education if you redeploy existing members to the newly set up ADR unit. There are actually quite a lot of heavy workload regarding land resumption and also development of the northern metropolis. So what I heard is that many colleagues are worried about whether these existing work would be affected. Second, about identification of the candidate. For the Go Global policy, our colleagues feel that this candidate should be very high level and should be well versed in both Hong Kong and Chinese mainland and overseas frameworks. So in identifying the candidate, whether it is identifying from within the government or recruiting from outside of the government, I hope that you will take the views of our members into consideration as well. Well, I believe that these are the major points put forward by our colleagues just now. Thank you. I will now put this item to the vote. For those in favor of the proposal EC 2026-27-6, please raise your hands. For those who are opposed to this, please raise your hand. 1, okay. I announce that the majority of our members present are in favor of the proposal. It is passed. Whether the Finance Committee should further discuss this issue, EC 2026-27-6. For those who agree that the Finance Committee should further discuss this paper, please raise your hand. I'd like to remind members that if this is passed, it means that our subcommittee would suggest that the Finance Committee further discuss this paper. If this is turned down, it means that our subcommittee does not recommend the Finance Committee to further discuss this paper. For those in favor, please raise your hand. Those against, please raise your hands.
I think the majority of members voting are against the motion, so the motion is negative. In other words, the subcommittee does not recommend that the Finance Committee further discuss paper EC 2026-27-6. I declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you.